What is up, everyone? Welcome back to our Magnuson PI2650 supercharged VF manual build. Flex fuel, all the rest. Really looking forward to it. Bloody awesome. Picking up right where we left off after last episode, we're going to continue to dummy together this blower setup on this engine so that we can make sure we order the correct valve covers and rocket covers and all the other stuff that we need to get. And I just wanted to go through with you guys a bit more of the actual supercharger kit as it comes from VCM. It's a very extensive kit and I thought a lot of you would like to see it. So obviously, as I talked about last episode, we've got our supercharger, we've got our steam port, which is upgraded. We've also got our valley plate, which comes as Magnuson as well, which is low profile with countersunk screws and also relocates our oil pressure sensor to get it out of the way of the supercharger. It obviously comes with our balancer as well as our supercharger pulley, which we haven't bolted up yet, but this is it here. Supercharger pulley gets bolted to the balancer. The balancer is keywayed. We've got it on a spool crank, so we do have the keyway in there working. Top pulley. So your pulley situation depends when you order it. You tell them your goals and they'll give you basically the best pulley situation they can, or the best pulley ratio that they will give you. This is some more of the kit that I've just started to lay out. It also comes with, depending what car you buy it for, obviously a complete over the radiator intake setup for it. So full OTR with infill panels for the VF in our case, which is bloody awesome because those OTRs just look awesome. They look factory. I believe that this whole kit, once it's in the car, is just going to look $1 million. Obviously it comes with a heat exchanger, which we'll show you once we start getting it into the car. Now, they just started, upon when I ordered this one, they just started doing it, but we're replacing these water blocks for the actual cooler brick in there with this nice one-piece manifold, which is a really nice bit of gear, so I'll show you that once we start installing that. But as you can see from what I've laid out here, it's a very extensive kit. It comes with everything you need. Patch looms, extension looms for sensors, moving areas. Got map sensor that's moved, IAT's moved. So it comes with all of your little patch looms to make sure that you can hook them all back up and have that be nice and easy. Even down to it comes with spark plugs. So VCM even supply you spark plugs to use. Now, when you order it, you can choose between two different injector setups. I believe it's a 60 something pound per hour and 90 something pound per hour. We obviously opted for the larger ones. However, the larger ones are still not going to get us where we want to get to. Also, as tuners, we have preferred injectors that we like using, so we are going to be changing to a different injector. But so those 92 pound hour, I think they are, which is essentially equivalent to 1000cc injectors, I think, at 3 bar. So they're not going to quite get us to where we want to be on E85. So we'll be running Excess by Expert 1650s, which is for E38 PCMs, which the VF runs on, is our go-to injector. They're bloody awesome. Awesome data out of this world. Definitely, as far as we're concerned, the best injectors on the market for this sort of application. So that's what we're going to be running. But needless to say, it does come with injectors, and depending on your power goals, they're very likely going to be fine. Obviously, because you're not trying to make the sort of power we're trying to make. But all this being said, I've never used one of these Magnuson PI2650s. It's a lot of claims about their efficiency. We're pretty excited to test it out. So we are hoping that the blower will do what we want it to do. However, we may find that it is limited and we won't actually get to our power goal at this stage. But hey, lots of room for improvements down the line, into chillers, that sort of thing. There's ways to get there if we want to later on. But anyway, I'll keep dummying some stuff up. Got our nice big tensioner, 10 rib setup. Obviously comes with belts. I'll go show you in the box some of the other stuff that it comes with. So I apologize for the, no, I'm just gonna wait actually. So here we are, guys. Here's another big box of goodies. As you can see, comes with an RP crank bolt ready to go, which is awesome. Comes with your water pump for the intercooler setup, all of your hoses that you require for that. Even comes with fuel line adapters to adapt the fuel lines and rails. Obviously your belt, very much needed. These are our injectors that we opted for that it comes with, which we won't actually be using for this car, but it does come with it, like I stated. And yeah, lots of little bits of fluid, all that. Yeah, heaps of stuff. So a lot of these are brackets that we need for our OTR. So it comes with infill panels for the OTR, plus the OTR itself, obviously. And a lot of those brackets are to move the radiator so that you can fit the OTR properly in the front end. This is our heat exchanger, as far as I'm aware, and we'll let you know, obviously, as we move forward. But this is just a simple, straight up bolt-in heat exchanger for the car. We've got adapters, which what appear to be to move our coils. which we'll confirm, because that also may have something to do with what covers we end up ordering. So we'll confirm that very soon. But yeah, a lot of this is just to do with the OTR, and we've got more tensioners, more pulleys, idlers, sort of. It's a very, very extensive kit, guys. Like I said, even down to the spark plugs. So that's a pretty good indication of how extensive this kit is. So we'll need to get our throttle body off the old intake manifold, so we'll get Bo onto that and we'll start piecing all this all together. All right, guys, starting to come together. As you can see, it's getting pretty bloody busy, but we are coming together. So yeah, this is the new manifold. Much nicer than just having the sticks out the front. It does come with fittings as well to screw into there. Haven't had a good look at them yet, but they're obviously some sort of quick release type fitting for a heater hose, I guess you'd say. It comes with a new serpentine belt tensioner, which is obviously to clear your new blower belt tensioner, which it all comes with as well. New bracket for your idlers for the blower belt. We've put the old throttle body on. That's just a stock throttle body, which obviously has to be mounted upside down because of the motor. I do have to wonder whether the stock throttle body will be a bit of a restriction for what we want to do. I hadn't really thought about it before, but I'll do some measuring and stuff, I guess. I wonder if like a 102mm throttle body might be of an advantage when you're at this sort of level. I don't know, but I guess I'll do some research, and I guess worst case scenario, we will find out. But anyway, that's that. So yeah, I've managed to pretty much get most of this stuff back together. I've got to get a new idler pulley for this because I actually stole it for another project a couple of weeks ago. So I've got to get a new one for that. Stole it when I was in an emergency situation, so that's that. So they do come with new coil rails, which I assume is to relocate the coils down to clear their fuel rails, which makes a lot of sense. Now they don't seem to want to really line up with the bolt holes in the covers, but I'm not too worried about it at the moment because obviously these covers aren't staying on. Now, given where this tensioner ended up, this is why I wanted to dummy all this stuff up. Obviously, we are not going to be able to put our breathers on the front, particularly on this side, so that's not going to work. This side, you get away with a breather on the front, that's going to be fine, but the other side, certainly not going to happen. So this is precisely why we do this sort of thing and dummy everything up and check it all. But yeah, that's mostly sort of the engine side of things, how it goes. So fair bit going on. It's pretty busy, but man, so far I'm a fan, and I'm really keen to see how this thing works and performs when it's finished, because I really like the idea of these kits, even the Harrops. Like you've seen us do Harrops on the channel. Just when it comes to VFs, you just know how much of a fan of VFs that I am. I just really like the idea of all this. Alright, that's how the coil rails are going to work, but obviously on our new covers. The other option is we could actually look at doing a coil relocation if it comes to it. Looks bloody good, ready to get it in the engine bay. Alright, boys and girls, so as you can see, Bo's got this motor in. Engine's in, new clutch is on, it's all in there, and the boys have started looking at the fuel system. The diff has also been installed, so we've got a new built by Hart transmissions in Brendale. The diff, it's a 3:9 ratio, and it's got all the bells and whistles, all the upgrades, torque worm center. So we are installing the new AI twin pump hanger system into this thing, and the boys have just run all the wiring that's required, so they knew sort of where that was going to have to be before they went and pulled the tank out. So the second pump is controlled by a hob switch, which obviously then is set by boost level. So at X amount of PSI boost, the second pump is going to turn on. And it comes with very, very detailed instructions. So Julian there at AI provides pretty detailed instructions. Just got to follow them to a T and you'll be pretty right. So there are our new fuel pump relays. So this whole AI kit, it is a complete, true plug and play system. And I mean complete, as in all the way down to your wiring, relays, everything is provided to bolt this in and make it work. Now we are going to have to modify the lines somewhat and the plumbing a little bit, just because of the fact that we are going flex fuel with this thing. So because we're going flex fuel, we can't run the flex fuel sensor on its own in the return line. We have to run one of the Raceworks bypass rails, which just gives you more volume in the return, splits it into two so that it can go through the sensor, but then also through the bypass and allow as much fuel as you need to get through there. So we are going to have to modify and remake the return line a little bit to suit our flex fuel sensor, and that will be pinned into our E38, and this thing will be flex fuel, which is, we just love E85, so that's happening. But yeah, so that's something we're gonna have to sort out. But yeah, this thing's coming along. So now that the boys have run the wiring that they need and everything else, the other thing is the owner has supplied some gauges that he wanted us to install, so Rex has been sorting that out as well. He was nice enough to run the wiring that we needed through the firewall to start with, so the owner did that before he bought it to us, which is awesome because we don't like doing that. But still had to sort out the wiring for the fuel pump setup anyway. So anyway, I digress. Now that the fuel pump wiring has been run, it's time to drop the tank and start looking at actually installing the hardware for this setup. Oh, pulling these fuel tanks is so much fun. So there's the diff 3.9, looks just like the old one, only it's new and upgraded. Here you are. I think this thing, E85 LS3 with its 2650 and 3.9s and manual, is gonna be just an absolute party. All right, she's pretty extensive and it's a really nice looking bit of gear. It's almost a shame to hide it down here in the fuel tank. Look at that.
How nice. So yeah, when it's together, obviously without the fuel sender in it yet, but that's it, that's the module.
It's so compact.
It's a work of art, really. It's very, very nice.
So obviously this is our first time trying one of these units, guys, but if these work the way they are advertised to, which we are pretty confident that it is going to, this is just the full stop fuel upgrade for your VF, and I believe that he is currently working on a 3rd gen Commodore one as well. So yeah, moving forward, if you needed to upgrade your fuel system, this would be it. Full stop.
For VF, pretty much I would not accept anything else.
Yeah.
Like, it's either use this or we won't touch it.
Pretty much, yeah.
The problems we've had with any other system is just not worth the bother.
So yeah, for reasons I won't go into right now because it'd make this video half an hour long, this is just the best option on the market at the moment. And yeah, like I said, first time using one, so we'll see how it actually works, but provided that it works the way it's designed to, and everything works the way it should, which it definitely should, because I believe that Julian has done a lot of R&D. I think he's put a lot of work into developing this module, this unit. So yes, definitely just moving forward, it's just the way to go. So really, really keen to see how this goes. All right, so the boys have got it assembled and sorted out and got the sender in there and everything else, ready to whack her in the fuel tank. So it even comes with a new line for drawing from the other side of the tank.
It's not a new line, it's just a bit of an adapter.
Oh.
That fitting, what we found is, see how it's got the tapered sort of rounded edge?
Yep.
It doesn't work with the other connectors. So, and also see how this is on the right-hand side of the module. This one's on the left.
Oh,
so it's
okay.
just a little adapter hose to go from the in-tank to that and give you a flexible hose just to sort of get
make it work
to sit back in.
Yep. So like things like that, guys, like as you can see, these hump over the tail shaft, and the way that the module works is it has a venturi setup that draws fuel through a tube that is actually sat over in the other hump of the tank to ensure that you actually can draw fuel from that side. So this is what we talk about when we say it's really hard to do fuel system upgrades and modifications on these cars because of the intricacies of the fuel systems. And once you start just, modifying these pots and chucking an upgraded pump in and stuff, it's actually really hard to keep things all working the way they were meant to from factory. And it just causes a lot of issues down the track. Whereas something like this, which is designed, researched and developed to work with all the factory intricacies of the fuel system so that everything works as it should, plus obviously makes, nearly 1,000 horsepower sort of thing. They're expensive, yes, but it's also very expensive to pay for dyno time while your tuner is chasing fuel supply issues. So, like I talked about, it's really just going to be from now on the straight up option, go to, put it in the car. Yeehaw, look at that. All right, it's all going back together. fuel system. Righto guys, so the fuel tank reinstalled, it's time to start looking at getting the blower on this thing now that we've got most of the wiring and stuff sorted out that we want to. So the boys have split the blower from the brick, the cooler brick. Looking awesome. Starting to look at getting this thing on the engine, on the big donk. So now that the Magnuson valley plate's in there properly, you can have a good look. That's the oil pressure adapter back there. That all looks great. All seals with O-rings that are all supplied. Really nice. So the blower itself does have this port on the back of it, and the plan is to put a 1/8 MPT to AN4 adapter in there and then run a AN line to the fuel reg so that the fuel reg is pressure referenced and map referenced, because it makes it much better as far as the modeling in the ECU for the flex fuel if it is boost referenced. And at the moment, Rex is drilling another hole on this convenient pad here that they give you. And this one is going to be for the hob switch for the fuel system. So the hob switch activates the second fuel pump at X PSI, as well as the boost gauge, did you say, Rex?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the gauge and the hob switch will be from that little port. So, but yeah, apart from that, this does the turny and this does the sucky, and these do the swirly and push it in through where Bo's hand is there, and then it goes up through the brick and down into the ports, and it's all happy days. Big old suck start. So for anyone that is not familiar with these blowers, what we've got here is an actuator for a bypass. So this is a vacuum actuator for your bypass valve, which is here, and that bypasses the whole screw setup and allows air directly from basically your intake into the manifold area to go down into the ports in the head. And it uses that at cruise and things like that, which is what makes them so efficient. Not as inefficient as how well they get air density and stuff into the ports, but I mean, they're fuel efficient at cruise because they're not actually loaded up and relying on air through the screws and stuff at cruise. They do just have that bypass, which helps them heaps. And yeah, blower supercharger technology, the way it's come along in the last 20 years is really cool as well. As you know, just as cool as how far turbo technology has gone as well. Different strokes for different folks. For this, you know, these sorts of applications, Commodore street cars, I'm a big fan of superchargers. I really like them for a lot of reasons. Obviously turbos are sick as well, but personally, if I was doing a VF like this, I'd be doing it just like this. So at the moment, just going back through and double checking that everything's got seals, gaskets, torqued up, etc. Because a lot of it was thrown together when it first arrived here, and we got the motor out of this car when we first dummied it up. And I don't think a lot of it was done, you know, properly, because it was a dummy up. So go back, double check all of that stuff, and start getting it installed.